Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about forgiving yourself in order to lose weight. This is really important, and I know a lot of people overlook it because I think they think the less forgiveness they show themselves, the more weight they'll lose. Right? It kind of comes out of this idea of almost no pain, no gain, right? That you really need to put the screws to yourself if you're ever going to lose the weight. This idea that you can never be nice to yourself until you lose the weight. And people do this all the time. And I think that they try and make themselves feel as bad as possible in order to push themselves to do the things that cause the weight loss. And I can understand where it makes sense initially, but if you zoom out and look at your weight loss experiences, um, the meaner you are to yourself, the more you try and put the screws to yourself to force yourself to do something, the less likely it is to last long. Okay. So I wouldn't disagree that if you're really mean and rough to yourself for a little while, it is a way to get yourself to take some new action. But ultimately, in the big picture of things, you're not going to stick with that. You're not going to feel bad long. Your brain doesn't like to feel bad. It hates it. It likes feeling good. This is what's the core of your weight loss problem in the beginning, first place anyways, right? Is the fact that you like the food and you have trouble not eating it. Okay. So the idea that your brain is a pleasure seeking mechanism should not sound that crazy to you, right? That's one of the main things you're fighting against. So what a lot of people do though, when they want to lose weight is they say, okay, now I'm going to be really mean to myself. I'm not going to forgive myself. I've got myself in this position and I'm wrong for it. And basically become very punitive. You punish yourself, for putting yourself in this position, and forgiveness is the last thing in the world. You hold forgiveness in front of you, dangle it in front of you as something that you'll get once you lose the weight. But in the real world, what ends up happening is this self-hatred, this beating yourself up, this punitive approach to what you've done really just exacerbates it or prolongs it. Because the worse you feel about yourself, the worse you feel emotionally, typically the worse you're going to eat. Your eating is going to reflect that. And when you're in a bad mood, when you're upset with yourself, when you don't feel good about yourself, your chances of eating the wrong thing or too much go way up. Why? Because in that state where you're really upset with yourself and feeling bad, the food is an easy win. It's just an easy way to feel better about yourself. So we need to deal with that on a core level. And one of the easiest ways to deal with that is to forgive yourself for your past transgressions, for your current transgressions. And the forgiveness really starts by accepting the idea that you have been and always will do the best you can. You'll use the best option you possibly have available to you. So in the past, when you've chosen the wrong foods, you've eaten too much of it, I know you're blaming yourself for doing it. You said, I shouldn't have done that. But the reality is that you don't have the programming to be around those foods in those situations and say no to them, most likely. And so what happens is you're just doing what you always did. So I believe that the deepest form and really the starting point of true, genuine forgiving yourself is realizing the reason that you weigh what you weigh is because you have never learned how to manage your weight. Now you've learned how to be strict with yourself and force yourself to follow certain things and fight with yourself. You've learned that stuff, but that stuff doesn't work. That's why 95% of people that lose weight on a diet put it back on, because it's not a good strategy. So once you realize I have never actually learned or focused on how to think, live, and eat like a thin and healthy person. I've never learned how to create the mindset of a thin and healthy person in my life. As much as I focused on weight, never done that. That's the beginning of really, truly being able to forgive yourself. That it's not a matter of not getting yourself to do the right thing. It's mostly a matter of not knowing the right thing to do. You don't know the thoughts to think. You don't know the routines and habits to have. You don't know how to structure your eating. Don't know how to structure your lifestyle. You don't know how to set yourself up for success with weight loss. No, you don't. You've been given a steady diet of strict diets your whole life. And so when you think about weight loss, you habitually and automatically think about it in a way that does not work. And that's what you've been doing pretty much your whole life. And you're blaming yourself now for that fact. And the truth is that the way to fix it, not to blame yourself. If you want to learn the piano and you don't know how to play it, getting mad at yourself for not knowing how to play it is not going to help you play the piano. What you have to do is you have to commit to learning how to play the piano. And the same is true of your weight. Once you let go of the beating yourself up, once you forgive yourself for the past and what you currently do, then you open up the door to start to learn how to approach your weight, your eating, your mindset, your lifestyle in a way that truly works for you and gets you and then keeps you at your goal weight, which is the ultimate goal. And you've never done that. You've just tried these strict diets where you do some crazy shit for a little while, and then you can't keep it up, and then you stop, and then you beat yourself up about it. So it's really, really, really key and important that you start to realize the main reason you're struggling with your weight is because you have not learned how to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person. And once you do, guess what happens? You start to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person. So it's not a matter of you not being able to get yourself to do it. It's a matter that you do not know how to do it. And if you want to learn how to do it, click the link in my bio, go get the free hypnosis session, watch the video I made for you. Go check that out because I'm here to help you, show you a better way. It ain't rocket science. You've just never learned this stuff. And once you learn how to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person, well, guess what happens to your weight? You start to become a thin, healthy person. So I hope this helps you out. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Any weight loss questions are welcome. And I know a lot of people, this is a big kickoff week for people. Here it is, right? Summer's right around the corner. What's up, Marcy? Long time no see. How's it going? How things going? So, yeah, for a lot of people, they're getting focused on their weight loss now because bathing suit season's right around the corner. But, and I get it. But obviously, if you really want the results that you really want, we got to think about things more than just a couple weeks before the summer. So, but if you're thinking about weight loss and you're looking to lose some pounds for the summer, I'm happy to help you out. And I'll encourage you to think bigger, but happy to help you out in the moment right now because that's what I do. And a lot of times the answers to your problems are different than you're thinking. And that's how it is, right? I mean, Einstein said the level of thinking that created the problem cannot solve the problem. So I do think that there is there's some truth to that. And so I think so much of like moving forward with your weight comes down to changing the way you think about things. I believe that to my core. So yeah, this is good. 3 days till summer break. Nice. 3 summer break. What are you teaching? I know my kid's got 2 more weeks, I think. Holy macaroni. This kid's going to be out of school in a couple weeks. My daughter been back for a while, but she's in college. So yeah. But yeah, any weight loss questions you have? You having trouble starting something, sticking to something, don't know what to do, struggling with carbs, keep thinking about sugar, all those questions, they're all welcome. And my goal is to give you some new insights. That's really why I'm here. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, usually around noon Eastern. And, my goal is to just bring a different perspective to this whole thing. Point you in a different direction. I think it's crazy from where I stand. And I've been doing this for a while, but when it comes in America, it's like, oh, goodness gracious. It's every weight loss thing is built around dieting primarily. I mean, there's obviously injections and surgery, but most people just subconsciously, when they think about weight loss, they think about dieting. And so that's become the norm, right? Even though it doesn't work for anyone, dieting doesn't work for anyone, folks. Okay. Like literally, I think it's estimated 97.5% of people that lose weight on a diet, put it back on. So, I mean, those are literally, it doesn't work for anyone numbers. I know it can help you lose weight. I was gonna be honest, I saw someone, I put a YouTube video up and some comment was, I don't know what you're talking about. I followed a 2,000 calorie diet, worked pretty well for me. I lost 40 pounds, 3 months. I mean, listen, obviously you can follow a diet and lose weight. I'm not saying that. You understand? You can restrict your calories. You do any diet you want. Do it strict for a little while. You'll lose weight. I'm not saying that's not true. What I'm saying is what happens after you've lost the weight. What happens when you get a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year into your plan? Is it something you expect to do forever? Or is it something you could do forever? And I know the answer is 0. And the reason I know there's no chance of that is because if you think about it, right, diets have been around, let's just say 100 years. We'll pick a round number. But all the years that there have been diets around, there's not even one diet that's been proven to be effective long-term. Not even one. The best diet statistically is usually attributed to Weight Watchers, and that has 0 to do with the dumb plan that they offer. I mean, again, folks, I mean, counting points is just it's just a take on counting calories. I mean, there's nothing groundbreaking there. The thing about Weight Watchers that made it special is the social piece of it, which really, again, just reinforces that there's more to this than just getting a sheet with how much you should eat or what you should eat on it. Your weight loss has more to do than just that. Marcy says, my 3 boys will be home all day, every day. Got to be structured this summer. Yeah, right. That's exactly right, Marcy. And the structure changes. So, here's the thing, Marcy, is that it's important to reference last year. And because again, we can forget about that. But I bet last summer when you were working on this, you had some good strategies that were working for you. And so remember what some of those key ones are. You don't have to put all of them in place, but what are the most important ones? When you got the boys home all the time, what's the most important piece of getting a handle on the eating and that whole setup, right? Whatever that may be. And I remember we talked about dishes at one point, right? So maybe like it could be something like getting the dishes done. A lot of times what's affecting your weight usually isn't even food. It's usually other factors. And so that's why you kind of think holistically. It can't just be about calories consumed because there's obviously more to it than just that, right? If there wasn't, then everyone would be at their weight because every diet just tells you what to do, but there's more to it. So make sure you focus on that, Marcy, and let your structure of how your summer goes with the boys, see if you can learn what you can remember from last year and then start implementing that and then tweak it, build on it. Donna says, 6 weeks to lose 4 pounds, trying not to be a psycho. I keep asking, how will I feel after I eat? Yeah, great job. I mean, I know 6 weeks to lose 4 pounds. I know people are like, oh my God, that's so slow. But if you, first of all, I don't think 4 pounds in 6 weeks is that slow. Like, I know you're like, what's this shit you're talking about? If I don't lose weight faster than that, I'm quitting. But my first question to you, Donna, would be, what did you do? What did you do to lose it? Like, if you're asking how will I feel after I eat it, that's a great, great question. And so the weight loss that happens in 6 weeks to me is almost secondary to, have I gotten this mental habit in place? Do I consistently, because let's just imagine you spend 3 months, Donna. Let's just throw out a number, 3 months. All you do is you train yourself. You focus on yourself. Every time I'm going to eat something, how am I going to feel after I eat it? Every food decision you're going to make, good and bad, right? Every decision you're going to make, you start training yourself. Before I take a bite, before I order the food, before I make my decision what I'm going to eat, I'm going to ask the question, how will I feel after I eat it? That's my goal. And if you focus on that for 3 months even, I don't give a shit what the weight says. I don't care. I'm going to get more aware of my eating and how I feel after I finish eating it. That's my goal. And say you dedicate 3 months to it. So it starts to become automatic. Like now you just naturally, before you make a food choice, you just ask, how am I going to feel after I eat it? And then you move forward. And sometimes you eat the perfect amount. Sometimes you eat a little too much. Sometimes you make the healthy choice. Sometimes you don't make the healthiest choice, but you're regularly, most of the time now you're saying, how am I going to feel after I eat it? And then you're paying attention to how you feel after you eat it. So you're really training yourself to be aware of how you feel after you finish eating, the consequence phase, and program yourself. Then we talk about 3 phases of eating: anticipation, consumption, consequence. And your entire lives, you've been focused on anticipation and consumption. Food industry's focused you on that. And you don't really pay attention to the consequence phase. But if you do start paying attention to the consequence phase of the food, it's profound, because when you make poor food choices, you instantly feel shitty. The 6 seconds after you take the last bite, you feel shitty, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And as you start paying attention to that, it's there right in front of you, folks. You're blind to it. Humans have the ability to literally delete entire sections of their reality. And one of the most deleted sections of reality in our culture is the consequence phase, the instant consequence phase. You all live in the long-term consequence of being overweight and not liking it. I'm talking about 6 seconds after you take the last bite of whatever it is you're eating, right? So you finish the fast food, the junk food, 6 seconds later, you took the last bite. How do you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally? And the biggest things are the mental and emotional piece. Physically, you won't even realize it most of the time because you've kind of built up a tolerance to this food. So, well, I feel fine. Okay, fine. But mentally and emotionally is really where the game's at. When you want to lose weight and you're unhappy with your weight and you go and eat a pint of ice cream or some junk food or some fast food or some stuff that's bringing you away from your goal, what are you thinking in your head? What do you say 6 seconds after you finish the last bite of ice cream? What do you think you're thinking in your head and saying to yourself? Let's make it simple. Do you think it's positive or negative? Do you think it's supportive, or do you think it's kind of accusatory and angry at yourself? Obviously, right? It's negative. It's negative stuff you're saying to yourself. You're mad at yourself. You're frustrated with yourself. You're beating yourself up for what you did, putting yourself down, something there. And all that internal chatter about what you did wrong and what a bad person you are for doing it leads to feelings. And so how do you feel emotionally 6 seconds after you finish the ice cream, the pizza, the junk food, the crap? Do you feel alive and motivated and successful and happy? Or do you feel negative and down and frustrated and hopeless? And so the answer is always the same. Every time you eat junk food, fast food, processed food bullshit, that's pretty much what you feel. It's if you want to lose weight. I'm not saying there's not a place for those foods and to eat them and feel fine afterwards. But if you're struggling to lose weight and it's really important to you, every time you sabotage yourself, you get upset with yourself. And so a lot of people are living in this consistent reality of feeling bad about themselves because of what they just did. And so back to you, Donna, if you train yourself to get really way more aware before you make a food choice and the consequences after, I'll take that all day long. I don't give a shit about the weight loss in the beginning because I know that that behavior, that focus on the before and after is going to automatically change my eating moving forward. You will automatically start making better food choices once you pay attention to the consequence phase. I always say, imagine if every time you ate the wrong thing, for your goal, you ate the junk food, the fast food, the bullshit, I popped out of nowhere with a hammer and I whack your thumb, then disappear. I say, oh, what the shit? Then, a day goes by and you eat some more ice cream. I pop out, whack. Right? How many times would I have to do that before you're like, I want some ice cream? Maybe not, though. I think I'm going to skip it. Not long. Okay. That's how humans work. We're very simple. We operate through pain and pleasure. Right? If something reduces pain and gives us more pleasure, great. We're going to do it more. If something reduces pleasure and gives us more pain, we're going to avoid it. Pretty simple. Okay. So a lot of the foods that you're struggling with, one of the core reasons you're struggling so much with them is because you only focus on the anticipation of eating it and the eating of it. Then you wipe out and delete the consequence phase that follows. So all you do is you look at those delicious foods and you think they're wonderful. They give me more pleasure, less pain. I love them. And that's how your nervous system is thinking about a lot of the foods that are making you overweight. And so it's forever in that mindset. It's always going to be a struggle. Now you say, well, so how would that feel? Well, it would feel like if you're a non-smoker, you already do this. When you're a non-smoker, excuse me, when you're a non-smoker, you naturally think about cigarettes and you think they're going to give you more pain and less pleasure. If you're a smoker, you think they're going to give you more pleasure and less pain. So our mindset is what's doing the heavy lifting in that situation. If you're a non-smoker, it's not because you're fighting off cravings for cigarettes all day. It's because the way you think about cigarettes, you don't have cravings for them. And this is what we need to do with the food is we need to change the way you think about it so that you start to see it for what it is, which isn't to say you never eat, pleasurable junk food, fast food. There's a place and a time for that. But what's happening is it's happened too much. And so that's a great job, Donna. So I think that the weight loss is just the cherry on the top, but I'm more excited that you're changing the way you think about food by asking that question. So nice job and keep it up, and you'll get better and better results. Marcy said, I'm doing the dishes right now. You got a good memory. I do. I'm like a savant. I always remember my clients I work with, and it's weird. I have like a photographic client memory of people I work with. It's like that. What's up, Don? But good job with those dishes, right? Get those dishes done because a lot of things go as the dishes go, right? That's kind of how it can be. Debbie says boredom and loneliness play a big role with me. Yeah, for sure. I mean, loneliness and boredom are just two emotions, right? So I'm going to break this down. Oh, nuts. Still working. Oh, did I just cut that off? Oh, good. We're still working there. So loneliness and boredom are just two emotions that trigger a lot of emotional eating. They're two common ones. But the big mistake a lot of people make when it comes to emotional eating is they get bored, they get lonely, and now they start getting hungry. Now, why is that, first of all? Because in this culture, we've been conditioned our whole lives to use food as our main emotional management strategy. So in America, you've been conditioned that when you feel lonely or bored, go get some food, right? Let's get some food and that'll take care of it. But it's not really taking care of it. It's really just distracting you because when you're lonely or bored, eating doesn't resolve the boredom or loneliness. You understand? It's just a distraction from those emotions for a little bit. And you can input whatever emotion you might be specifically dealing with. But so the answer is not to not eat when you're lonely and bored. The answer is to resolve the boredom and loneliness at a deeper core level. And to do that, we start with, again, first understanding, okay, when do I get bored? So you want to start to understand there's probably a pattern to it. Maybe it's when you get home at night from work. Maybe it's the weekends when you don't have any plans. It shows up different for different people. But the first thing you want to notice is, when do I feel lonely or boredom the most? Where am I at? What's going on? And then the next question becomes, how do I want to feel in my life? How do I want to feel on the weekend? How do I want to feel at the weekday nights? So I like to feel stimulated and connected, right? So I don't want to feel bored. I want to feel stimulated, interested, curious, excited. Okay. I don't want to feel lonely. I want to feel connected. I want to feel supported. I want to feel surrounded. I want to feel, whatever it may be for you. And that's the first step to truly resolving it. Because again, the problem is not the boredom eating. The problem is the boredom. And until you resolve the boredom at a core level, you're never going to resolve the boredom eating. You see, but not eating when you're bored is not the answer, because now you're just going to be a thin bored person, a thin lonely person. And that's not that much better, believe me. Okay. So the secret to this, Debbie, is to start asking a better question. I get bored when, though? You're not always bored, I'm going to imagine. It's certain times. So start to get specific. When is the boredom showing up? And in those situations, what do I want to feel? That's the first question. What do I want to feel? And then start asking, how can I feel those things? And that's how I would approach it. Because again, it is a big role, but it's not the role you think. It's not because now I'm hungry. When I'm bored, I have to stop eating. It's about resolving the boredom and loneliness. So I hope that makes sense. And Donna says, you telling us to think that is why I lost weight, but last night I ate like I was on death row. I get that. So did I. So what? We had a cookout yesterday and I ate more potato chips than I've eaten in probably the last 2 years. And I felt disgusting, so it happens. I just had a coaching call. I was talking about this and boy, I wish I could really just put this idea in everyone's brains. Mastering your weight, living at your goal weight is not about being perfect, right? This is the biggest mistake all you dieters are making right here. Ready? In your mind, you think of weight loss as being perfect because you think like a dieter. And so in your mind, you're like, well, I'll have control of my weight when I don't binge anymore, when I just am in control of my eating all the time. You're never, ever, never in this environment going to be in control of your eating all the time. Never. And you don't need to be. The secret is to be more in control of it, to be in control of it more of the time. But there's always going to be times when you eat the wrong thing or eat too much of it, or both. Okay. No big deal. So again, Donna, I by the way, though, Donna, that's where everything starts working together, is that with when you start getting, see, Donna's doing good work here. I don't know. You're not in the program, are you, Donna? You should be, because that focusing on how you eat afterwards is like one out of 100 things you learn that are really helpful. But let's just say that's all you do. The beauty of that idea of really training yourself to bring more awareness to your eating, to before you make a food choice, to ask, how am I going to feel after, when you think about your options? And then afterwards, whatever food choice you make, become more aware, and the consequence says, okay, how do I feel now? If you do that, what happens is it becomes really useful. And the time when it's most useful is when you eat like you feel like you're on death row, when you eat all the potato chips, when you eat all the ice cream, you eat like shit. That's the most useful time there is, because when you take that time and then you add all the extra awareness you've been developing on it, it's transformative, because it opens your eyes up to realize, holy shit, it really does feel bad to eat this way. It really does. You've got the truth on your side, folks. I know you think the pleasurable eating, the ice cream, the cookies, and the bullshit, I know you think it's so amazing. But when you start to see it for what it is, you start to realize it's not. I mean, shit, the world is littered with people addicted to all sorts of things that in their addiction, when they're in the throes of it, they think that the thing that's they're addicted to is the solution. It's the thing causing the pleasure. But in reality, it's the thing that's causing the pain. And it's no different with the food. The foods that you think are so pleasurable, ironically, in reality, are the things that are causing you the most pain in your life most of the time, if you're not happy with your weight and your health. So again, Donna, no big deal that happened last night. That's just part of it, and it's no big deal. Again, you're always going to have good and bad days for the rest of your life. You're never going to have a period, folks, where you're just perfect with your eating. That doesn't exist. You're a human being. So you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. You have good weeks, bad weeks, good months, bad months. That's kind of how it goes. And there's no way out of that. Not long term. Yeah, you can be perfect for a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months sometimes, but you can't be perfect forever. So no big deal, Donna. Good job. Now let's get right back on track. That's the big secret. Right back on track. Deb said, did you email the new blueprints yet? No, those will be here this week. The blueprints have been officially finished. Very exciting. And so now I just have to go through them, tighten them up a little bit, reform them. You will have those this weekend. I'm going to get you, if you're in the program, you're going to get the new blueprints this weekend at the latest. I promise. Because even if I don't have them perfectly formatted, they're way better, and I can't wait till you all to get them. It's super exciting. So, yeah. And then what I always do when I kind of update the program, is I'll basically go through it again and reteach the whole thing. So, if you're in the program, you have access to the Tuesday classes, and we're going to start those. Will it be today? I don't know if it'll be today. I don't know if I'll have the new stuff ready for today, but it'll be next week at the latest, where we'll basically I'm going to take you through the new version of it. It's similar to the other one, but the workbooks are way better. The blueprints are way better. So I think you're going to like them. So you'll get that information. 401 Sue says, I feel stuck at a certain weight, can't get below the number. I get that. But again, my brain is always more focused on the behavior. Okay. So your weight, there's cause and effect in life, right? Your weight is actually an effect, which is to say you can't lose weight. There's no such thing as losing weight. It's really semantically ill-formed, because you can't lose weight. How would you lose weight? Right now, lose weight. Go ahead, lose it. Right? You can't. What you can do is you can make better food choices, improve your lifestyle, right? You can make decisions here, and then over time, through some magical process, it shows up over here as weight loss. You don't know how, This is really important to understand, because a lot of times the way we speak, we do the same thing with money. I'm going to make money. No, you're not going to make money. There's only one way to make money, and it's illegal. Okay. A counterfeiting machine. So no, you can work harder. You can create more value in the world, and you can have more money come to you in life. Okay. But you can't make money. It's semantically ill-formed, and it confuses our subconscious mind because our subconscious mind is very literal. So when Sue says, I feel stuck at a certain weight, my mind says, it translates that and says, I'm stuck with the same behaviors. I'm stuck changing my behaviors. Right. And your weight's reflecting that. So I always like to focus on the cause, because when we say, oh my God, I can't lose weight, we confuse our brain because we're thinking a level. We have influence of our behaviors. You could make better food choices today. You could go for a walk. You could clean up your lifestyle. You could do that today. It's clear in your mind. You know exactly how to do it. If I say start losing weight today, well, you can't do that. That doesn't mean anything. You're short of chopping a leg or arm off, right? That's the only way to actually lose weight right now. So it doesn't exist. And so when I hear someone say, I'm stuck at a certain weight, my brain says, yeah, because the weight's a reflection of your behavior. So my brain reframes that and says, you're stuck at certain behaviors. You're struggling to reduce your calories a bit. That's what I'm thinking. So can't get below the number is I can't reduce my calories comfortably long enough. I hope that makes sense. And unless you tell me, no, I keep cutting, every week I cut 500 more calories out. No, you don't, So this is a better way to look at it because it's more accurate and your brain can make sense of it. But as soon as we say, I feel stuck at a certain weight, we've separated ourselves from our power, because you have no control over your weight. You do have control over your eating and your lifestyle. Does that make sense? You say, Jim, it's just semantics. Well, it's really important semantical distinctions. I can tell you that, because again, Sue here is going in her head, what the shit? I don't understand it. I'm doing everything right. I'm just stuck here. I can't get below this number. I can't get below this number. No matter what I do, I can't get below this number. People talk like this all the time about their weight. And in a weird way, it's very powerless, right? Because you're basically saying, I'm doing everything. I don't know, whatever. But there's some magical reason my body will not go below this weight. My body's stuck here. I'm stuck here. Well, it's not magical. It's because your average calorie consumption is at the weight you're at. And you're struggling to reduce your calorie consumption moving forward for a consistent amount of time to get your weight to drop down. I hope that makes sense, and now once you understand that, now you can ask a much more articulated, refined question. Now you can say, okay, well, actually, yeah, I'm struggling on the weekend. I keep overeating something, or yeah, every breakfast, I can't stop eating the donut, or whatever. We need to get specific. So your behavior. Yeah. You're all stuck at a certain number. Have you noticed that? Yeah. All of you are stuck at a certain number. You don't know how to lose the weight. No, I know how to lose. I just got to eat better. Eat better? What's that mean? So I hope that makes sense. Nova says it's an important mind shift. It is. It's a huge mind shift because, again, it puts you back in control. If my weight's stuck at a place, I instantly go and look at, say, okay, what are my habitual behaviors? Where's the easiest place for me to cut some more calories out consistently? And if I cut those out, I know my weight's going to start lowering. I don't know when. Maybe this week, maybe this month. I don't know. But I know if I reduce my average calorie consumption, my weight's going to go down. That's how weight works. So hope that helps. But I know a lot of people feel that. And again, I think that that's an important thing to deal with, because dieting is a psychological, it's a manipulation. Dieting is not a good mindset to have if you care about your weight. If you want to lose weight, dieting is an awful mindset. Awful. It's crazy. I mean, this is literally why I'm out here every day, because dieting doesn't work. And dieting is really literally the opposite way to lose weight. Dieting keeps you overweight. So 401 Sue says, I believe the weekends are not structured enough. Great, Sue. That's got to feel better, doesn't it? See, because Sue, you were doing what all dieters do to some degree, which is basically, and you got to watch out for this, folks, because this is the kiss of death if you start thinking anything like this, which is basically, my weight is stuck, right? Because that linguistically, what's happening there is you're disassociating, you're separating from your weight. So your weight just does its own thing. I could eat, and then where we go from there, we go to, it doesn't matter what I do. I can't, my body won't let go of the weight. I can't lose weight. No matter what I do, my body won't slim down. The second you say that, you're done. You're cooked. Like, because it's the most powerless belief you could have. And it's never true. It is never true. Again, it only takes a quick look at some famine situations in history to realize there's never an outlier in a famine situation. There's never an outlier. You look at famine situations, everyone looks exactly the same. And I know that's an extreme example, but sometimes you need to be hit with extreme things to get out of the powerless idea that no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. That's not true. That's not true. See? So now, Sue, you're in a much better spot because now you say, okay, yeah, my weight's stuck because my weekends, I kind of get carried away on the weekends a little bit. I'm eating too much on the weekends because they're not structured enough. Great. Well, let's work on that. You see what I mean? Like now we're focused on the cause. Now we can get like a laser. We can be strategic. We can say, okay, how can I structure my weekends more to reduce the calories there? And if I can shave off a few hundred calories from my weekends comfortably, reliably, consistently, my weight's going to go down. Doesn't that feel better? I mean, you're still in the driver's seat. You're in control. That to me is a way better mindset than, oh, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. So what's the point? That idea is probably foundationally more responsible for people quitting their weight loss plans and being overweight than almost anything else, you know? So great job, Sue. I hope that feels like an improvement for you in terms of how you're thinking about it, you know? And again, I suggest all of you, if you're not in my world, but certainly Sue here, right? And the other person was asking the questions. Make sure you're at least get the free stuff I give you. I give you a free hypnosis, Donna. Yes. The free hypnosis session, and I give you a training video I made. I think that's the most important piece. I think that's more important than the hypnosis session, but I made a quick training video for you, just showing you how to go about your weight. That's not diet based. And if you're remotely serious about your weight, you really ought to watch this. Otherwise you are just winging it, hoping for the best. I really mean that. You know, you all need some more knowledge. That's all. Get a little bit more information and knowledge and you'll be all set. That's another conversation I was having recently. Like, that's why I think persistence and commitment is the most important thing, because if you'll be committed and persistent with what I'm talking about, you absolutely will get control of your weight. It's not rocket science. You've just never learned this stuff. I always say it's like, like plumbing, right? You could have no mechanical ability, but if you go to school to be a plumber, if you go to school to be a car mechanic, you will come out the other end of it being a plumber and a car mechanic, whether you have aptitude for it or not. Why? Because you just keep practicing the same. You'll learn it. You'll understand it and you'll get the other side. And the same's true with your weight and your behaviors and your mindset. Once you understand it and practice it, this isn't rocket science. Just the thing is, you've never learned any of this. Your approach to losing weight is that you're magically going to wake up. And I know a lot of you are trying it today and you're done. You've got no chance this week, because starting a weight loss plan on a Tuesday is the kiss of death. And so when it doesn't work, don't feel like a failure. Just realize it's not working because I can't start on a Tuesday. The only day you dieters can start a weight loss plan is on a Monday. So trying to start today on a Tuesday, you're going to see it's just not going to work. You're just going to feel like you're unplugged. It ain't your fault. It's really not. It's how you're programmed. But so anyways, Sue says, thank you. You're welcome, Sue. Hope that helps you. Dolores says, I haven't watched you in a while and I've gained 20 pounds. So I'm not doing something right. Yeah, I think that's a great place to look at it, and I would say, I would even take it a step further though. I would say, so I'm not doing something right. I don't like that. I don't like to put judgments on my behavior because it clouds up my vision. What do I mean by that? I haven't watched you in a while. I've gained 20 pounds, so I'm not doing something right. I would reframe that as, I haven't watched you in a while and I've put 20 pounds on because I'm consuming more calories. You see, like the way we talk about calories is really tricky, isn't it? Like this vague idea, Dolores says, I put 20 pounds, so I'm not doing something right. Something's not right. I'm 20 pounds heavier. Something's wrong. Yeah, it's not that complicated. Your weight is a reflection of your average calorie consumption. So I know, and it's not because I have some, psychic abilities. I know the reason Dolores put 20 pounds on is because she's consuming more calories. I don't mean I'm not trying to be a smart ass here. But notice the way you'll see this over and over again. The way people describe their weight gain is very artful, but it's also very inaccurate a lot of times. But again, the idea, and you probably don't even think anything of this, folks, because you say something like it. But I've been watching. I've gained 20 pounds, so I'm not doing something right. That's very unsatisfying and unclear for your brain. So it's important to understand that you don't lose weight, you don't gain weight. Let's take it back a step. You can't gain weight and you can't lose weight. You can eat more calories, you can consume more calories, you can consume less calories, and your weight will reflect that. So when your weight goes up, it's because you've been consuming more calories. When your weight goes down, it's because you're consuming less calories. And keeping that clear in your mind is really important because, again, with Dolores here, I've gained 20 pounds so I'm not doing something right. Great. Where do you go from there? There's nowhere to go from there. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm doing something wrong. Great. Where do you go? You know what I mean? There's nowhere to go. To me, it's like, oh shit. And I did this. I literally it's been a funny year for me because I put I was 10 pounds up over my weight for a couple months here, but the whole time I'm doing it, I knew exactly why. Like I'm very aware of my habits and behaviors. So I know why my weight went up. I mean, I started eating more calories, but specifically I started making more cookies there was a couple different reasons why I was making cookies, and that got more stuff. And then emotionally and just different shit going on in my life. I was just eating more and I knew it, so my weight went up 10 pounds. My weight went up 10 pounds. I've been eating more. Okay. You know what I mean? We're still in the realm of reality here. And so my brain can make sense of it all. I was, oh my God, oh my God, the scale went up 10 pounds. That's like the ultimate, right? That's the ultimate description in a disassociated way. Think about that, right? The scale went up 15 pounds. No, that is so disassociated. You get that? This is really important stuff. Because if you say things like, oh my God, the scale went up 20 pounds. No, the scale didn't go up 20 pounds. You've been eating more, so you're 20 pounds heavier, and the scale's just showing you that, And so I don't know if this may sting a little bit at first, but it's the starting point of resolving it. Because once you start to realize, oh yeah, my body, it goes up when I eat more, it goes down when I eat less calories. So how can I strategically and systematically consume less calories so I can get to my goal weight? That's what Program Yourself Thin comes down to in a nutshell. It's all about living at your goal weight. And it's all about getting your calorie consumption right down to the level of your goal weight in the most comfortable and easiest way possible. That's what the calorie blueprint, right? You create your own calorie blueprint so that you know exactly how to eat and live in order to live at your goal weight. Structured out in a way that works best for you. But it really does start with this original idea that your weight is a reflection of the average calories you consume. And if your weight goes up, it's because you're consuming more calories. And so speak that way makes it a lot more powerful. What's up, Jamelin? Jamelin says, yes, exactly. I'm so good during the week, but being too snacky on weekends and not sticking to meals. Yeah. Again, I get it. And that's normal. That's why in Program Yourself Thin, when we talk about the calorie blueprint, it's a weekly strategy. So we have clean days and pleasure days is kind of like the big categories, but we structure all the days. Structure is the secret weapon to mastering your weight, and not strict structure like a diet, but structure where there's consistency and regularity. And that allows you to plan better, comply better, perform better. But again, Jamelin, same thing though. But again, it's important. We only have so much energy. We can't, this is why dieting is so silly. The idea that you're going to completely fix all of your eating just in one day makes zero sense in the world of reality. How would you just instantly get better at everything all at once? That's not even an option. So we have to be strategic with where we focus. We only have so much energy. So for you, Jamelin, it's about the weekends. And I would suggest, right? So here's a little bit of when we do the eating, the calorie blueprint. I got to start calling the calorie blueprint, not the eating blueprint, because I realized a lot of people bring in tremendous amounts of calories in liquid drinking. Yeah, become like a laser, right? How do I get the weekend working better for me? And ironically, if the weekends you're a little more lax, fine. But ironically, the first step to get weekends dialed in is to start by planning your favorite meal on the weekend. What's your favorite thing to eat on the weekend? You start there, keep that, and then you clean up the other eating around it. Hope that makes sense. Queen MFB, what can I do to understand why I eat so much? What can I do to understand why I eat so much? I mean, you can just pay attention. You can pay attention to why you eat so much. And there's usually 3 big triggers of why you're eating too much. Okay. The first one is you get too hungry. I'd say that's number 1 for most dieters. They over restrict, get themselves so hungry that now when they start eating, they can't control them and they way overeat. Over restrict leads to overeating. So the first thing is your hunger level. Have these wild swings where you're getting starving and then stuffed? No good. Okay, that's the first thing to look at. Second thing is emotions, right? So why do you eat so much? So again, let me take a step back actually. Why do I eat so much? Right off the bat, that question's so big and vague, it's hard to make sense of. So the first thing I want to do is I want to break that down. I want to say, okay, why do I eat so much? And I want to start to notice the patterns, because there are specific patterns that are showing up daily or multiple times a week where you're eating so much. So most likely you're not eating so much at breakfast. That might be your best meal of the day. So we can't say, oh, why am I eating so much? As this big open-ended question. I always eat so much. Why do I always eat so much? Your brain says, that's too big. I don't know. So we want to dial it in. Where's the most egregious eating too much? Is it at night snacking? Is it on the weekends? Is it at dinners? Is it at lunchtime? Right? We can't pay attention to everything. And so I would want to say, again, and we do this in the program, your highest calorie habit. What's your highest calorie habit that shows up daily or multiple times a week? And then I would start focusing on that. What's going on there? And again, the main 3 things you're going to find is that it's your hunger level that's impacting it, your emotional state that's impacting it, and just habit. It's just a habit to eat a bunch of food at this time in this situation. And so that's how I would start to diagnose it. And that's a great question too, by the way, because again, in programming yourself, then awareness is the first step. We need awareness before we can fix anything. And that's the secret. So that's a great question. Right? Jamelin says, I notice when the kids stress me out, I hit the F it button, need to do something else instead. There you go, Jamelin. You see what I mean? That's what we do in Program Yourself then in a nutshell, is we basically, we identify issues. Again, awareness precedes change. You can't fix what you don't know is broken. So we become aware of what the patterns are. We become aware of the most egregious ones, and we go to work on fixing them. And a lot of times that has nothing to do with food. Like for Jamelin here, it has to do with the kids get me stressed out. And once I'm stressed, I use the food to calm down. Right now, you proceed that by saying, F it, fuck it, but then that leads to you now meeting. And now my stress goes down. Why is your stress going down? Because you've shifted your focus from the kids to the food. And so your stress goes down for a little bit. Then you finish the eating, and then we're back to the kids, and your stress goes right back up. So you didn't really resolve the stress. You just distracted yourself from a bit and added to it, because now you feel even more stressed because you're mad that you ate that way. So yes, you're absolutely right. You need something else to do instead. And so this is a great example. This really has nothing to do with the food. This has to do with Jamelin's stress management strategies. And if she's like most of you, you have no stress management strategies other than eating. Eating it for most people is the number 1 stress management strategy they got. And if that's your main motivation, if that's your main emotional management strategy, you're going to be in big trouble when it comes to managing your weight. However, once you have better stress management strategies that don't involve food, your ability to manage your weight goes way up, because it really has nothing to do with the food in this situation. It has to do with the stress management. So that makes sense. What's up, Melancholy? Melancholy says, still trying to isolate my highest calorie habit. There seems to be many that are problematic. Thanks for the nudge to look at things that way last week. Yeah, you're welcome, Melancholy. Yeah. And that's just part of it. Yeah. I was just doing a call with someone, and I've been working with for a little while, like maybe, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months, somewhere in that ballpark. And, we were talking about, there hasn't been a lot of weight loss yet, but the awareness is off the charts. And I said, you're doing super great, because the awareness is the most important thing. I don't give a shit. People that lose the most weight the fastest have no awareness. They're just following a plan. That's how the diets are set up. You don't need an awareness with a plan. You just force yourself to do what the plan says. What I'm talking about is completely different. You have to really understand yourself, because to program yourself, then we're not trying to change everything all in one day. See, with your diet, every single diet you've ever done, by the way, this is where every diet's exactly the same, because you can't look at diets as specifically what they tell you to do, right? So you might say to yourself, okay, a carnivore diet and a vegan diet are completely different. Not in my book. They're the same thing, because if you're going to do either one of them, you're probably going to jump into it 100%. Now it's Monday. I only eat meat. Now it's Monday. I'll never eat anything animal product. That's the diet mindset. It's not the specifics of what you're going to eat or do. It's the mindset of how you're going to do it. And the diet mindset is this ridiculous idea that you are absolutely going to transform 100% your eating in one day. And you're not. And so program yourself then is completely different in the sense that I want to understand what you do now, because what I'm interested in is what you do on autopilot. That's what I'm fascinated by, because I'm focused on living at your goal weight, not just losing weight. Yeah, you can focus and get fixated on losing weight for a little while and make it happen. We all know that. You cannot live at your goal weight by doing that. So in order to live at your goal weight, you need to make the process run on near autopilot. And in order to make your eating run on near autopilot, you need to notice the autopilot you already have. Your eating is already on autopilot, folks. I guarantee you. You're not, every week that happens, you're not eating new foods and new places and new amounts. That's not what's happening. You're consistently eating the same foods in the same places and the same amounts. And you're repeating that. That's why your weight doesn't just keep going up and up and up. I know you think it is, but a couple pounds a year up and up is not what I'm talking about. Your weight's not going up 5-10 pounds every month. Why? Your weight's staying about the same. Why? Because you eat about the same amount of calories consistently, and it's all being handled by your subconscious mind on autopilot. So with Program Yourself, then we look to first say, okay, what are your already existing autopilot behaviors? Let's notice the most egregious one and go to work on fixing it. And once we get a real handle on that and we get a new behavior running instead of that old one that helps slim you down, now we move on to the next one. So it's much more strategic and systematic, which I think when you hear that, I hope that makes a lot more sense than dieting and changing everything all at once. For some of you it will and some of you it won't, but again, I think it makes a lot more sense. So Dolores says, you're absolutely right, but I'm so glad I put a stop to it right now before I gain more weight. Yeah, great job, Dolores. And I get it. Like, again, I understand. Yeah, I'll put 20 pounds on. I get it. But realize it's because you added something. Something got added to your habitual thing. You start eating ice cream at night. You started getting a coffee drink in the morning. Something got added to your normal routine, Dolores. And that's why the weight went up to 20 pounds. And if you look at it that way, I find that very comforting and manageable. Not always happy, right? We're always happy with some of the behaviors. I wasn't happy when I put 10 pounds on because I started eating more cookies and, it's more bullshit, but I knew what it was. At least I knew exactly what caused that. And so then I can go to focus in a very systematic laser-like way to fix it. So great job though, Dolores, stopping that and now get yourself back on track to drop it. That's a great idea. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Jerry says, oh, okay. Skip Trump stuff. And Jerry, I don't know. It's so funny. Sometimes I know how it is with politics. Sometimes people just can't even help themselves. Even I'm talking about weight loss, people want to talk about politics. Not here, though. Jamelin said, I started lifting weights 3 times a week, so I've noticed my hunger go up. Great job, Jamelin. Great job. Yep. Absolutely. Now your hunger will go up for a little bit and then it might start to even out a little bit as well. But what I always say to people, if you start doing more activity, your hunger is going to go up, but that's okay. As long as you strategically, now you're going to be hungry, which is the perfect opportunity to add some more healthy foods into your kind of your regular eating. Right. So if all of a sudden you start being more active, and again, if you have awareness, okay, I'm being more active. I know it's going to make me hungrier. So when I'm hungry, I make sure I get some more fruit, some more apples and bananas, because I'm gonna be hungry now. I'm going to use that hunger to eat more healthy stuff. So again, the hunger is not a problem. The secret is to use that hunger to help you implement a healthier eating habit. Okay. Queen MFB says, thank you. You're always such a light in the dark. Well, thank you. That's a nice thing you to say. And that's what I'm here for, is to Be a light in the dark. Not to sound, delusions of grandeur like a crazy person, but for me, again, I've said this all the time that this for me is a mission because my father died at 54 of a heart attack. I was 9 years old. So it's the kind of core trauma of my life and it's directly related to weight. And I just think that you're never given a real clear idea of how to do it, how to really live at your goal weight. I always make the distinction that dieting is all about losing weight, getting to your goal weight. And what I'm talking about is about living at your goal weight for the rest of your life on near autopilot. And once I make that distinction, I think it's clear as day to you that you've never had anyone explain how to live at your goal weight for the rest of your life, not in this environment, right? You're always taught how to try and react and fight against yourself and force yourself to do shit differently for a little while till you lose the weight. But you've never in your mind learned how to create and install a thin and healthy mindset. And that's what I help people do. That's why I'm here every Monday through Friday, noon Eastern. So if you ever have questions, I'm happy to help you out. And then I give you a bunch of free shit as well. And I have a program. So if you want to, make a bigger commitment, I'm there for you as well, but yeah, I am here to be a light in the dark. Jalen says, I got clothes out the dryer yesterday, a little small win. It was so much easier. I can tell my legs have gotten stronger. Yeah, for sure. I get that. I have been, I would say, what am I at now? Probably 4 months, 4 months where I've been doing, Monday through Fridays, I've been doing push-ups and squats, body weight squats. And it's been amazing because this is the first time in my life where I've actually used my wisdom. And what I always do when I start doing resistance training is I do too much too quick and I hurt myself and then I hate it. And this has been the first time I slowed it up. But now here I am. Again, it's not like I'm not at the gym. I'm not doing heavy stuff. I'm not getting super fast results. But I should take that back. I am getting super fast results, not the ones I'm not jacked up like, I don't visually look the way I would want to or could have if I really, really committed to some crazy plan, but I'm doing things consistently. And I love the little things. I love the feeling of, first of all, being stronger. What a difference. I mean, I started off and I got shoulder surgery and I had a bad shoulder for 4 years. So I got weak. You know what I mean? I lost a lot of strength over that time. And literally when I started doing push-ups, like doing 5 of them was hard and uncomfortable, and now I'm up to doing, and I'm proud of this, 85. I did 85 today, 85 squats. And I've always felt like I have weak legs. So doing those squats, again, we always think of this extreme level we want to get to, but for me, I'm thinking where I started. I'm like, holy shit, I feel so much stronger, like just feel stronger. And that's what I really pay attention to. It's just as I'm walking through the day, I was like cleaning my fish tank out. I was carrying the water bucket. I'm like, it's easier for me to do that, so Jamelin, I know exactly what you're talking about. And if you can really pay attention to little things, I think that's so helpful and important moving you forward. Cause I think our culture just gets us fixated on the giant wins, and it's a big problem, but yeah, proud of you, Jamelin. And I'm right there with you. I feel over the moon, in the exact same way, because I feel stronger in ways that only I would notice, but that's all that matters to me, and I really pay attention to all the little benefits I get from doing that exercising. So that's awesome. Good for you. Yeah, you keep focused on those and stack them up, Yeah, it was so motivating that used to hurt. Yeah, exactly. I'm like that all the time. Like I really do reference zero. That's why I do a bit of yoga every single day because I want to be able to get on the floor and get off the floor. I want to be able to bend down and bend up, get back up. I want to be able to, put my hands on the floor and be flexible enough to do that. And it's very important to me. Now would I love to go further beyond that and do a lot of even cooler stuff? Yes. But my baseline is I want to maintain this, and so, I just think, in this culture, we're so all or nothing with everything, right? Either we're all, and we're just the outlier toppity top of the tops, or we're not doing any of it. And there's so much sweet space right in that middle. It's easier and it's really way more enjoyable than you may think it is. So yeah, great job, Jamelin, doing that and then paying attention to it. I'm proud of you. And I'm on that same path. And I love it because again, I'll tell you too, for me personally, the biggest piece of doing the resistance training for the last few months is that there is this strength. Like I feel stronger and I really like that a lot, but there's also the self-image, the identity piece where I'm someone who now does this. So I now think of myself as a stronger person. I think of myself working out wise as a more committed person. And I went into it this way. That's why I say this is the first time I've really put it all together, exercising wise. But I started off in a way that was simple and easy for me. And I just keep building on that. And I don't know where this will go. Maybe it'll just kind of plateau where I'm at and I'd be okay with that. Or maybe I will. I don't know where it'll go, but it's fun. And it feels like I'm on a path of improvement. And that's what I want for all of you, because I think this idea of weight loss is always like, it's got a finite endpoint where you got your goal weight. Well, guess what? You're a human being, and human beings need some sense that tomorrow's going to be better than today. There needs to be something we can look forward to. And so that's why I always say, in Program Yourself, then we take the weight loss and wrap it in personal development. Because it's not just enough to get to a weight and just live there forever. You're going to get bored with it. There needs to be things you can keep looking forward to. And so for me, I am on a forever path. For the next 100 years, I'm going to keep improving in little ways. And I will always have something to look forward to, something to improve, something to get better at, something to make easier, something to optimize. I will adjust it because it's going to change as I get older. Things will change. I recognize that, but there's always going to be ways for me to improve and get better. And that in and of itself is very appealing to a human brain. Human brains need something to look forward to. This is why, listen again, 95 to 98% of people that lose weight on a diet put it back on. And I think this is at a core part of that statistic, is that a lot of people, as they're getting to the goal weight, they're all excited about getting there. And there's a lot of motivation. But then once you get to that goal weight, there's a thing called hedonic adaptation. You adapt to whatever you have. You know this with whatever car you got, right? You got your car in the first couple of months. I was like, holy shit, look at this car. It's amazing, a new car. The rest of it eventually just turns into your car. The same thing's going to go on with your body. It's really exciting to get there because you think everything's going to be so different. Then you get there and you realize, okay, life's kind of life. It's better in some ways and it's the same in a lot of ways. But you need something to look forward to. And I think a lot of dieters, there's nothing to look forward to. Once you get to your goal weight, what are you looking forward to? It's, I'm just going to love living at my goal weight. Yeah, you will for a little while. And then it's just going to become that's your goal, your weight. It's just normal. So you need things to look forward to. Very important. What's up, Denise? How's it going? Santina, happy I'm back. Oh, look at this. It's like a homecoming. We got a lot of people coming back today. Nice job. Nice job. So nice to see you back here, Santina. Hope it's going well. Denise said, yeah, if diets worked, we'd all be slim. Of course, right? Not only are we not all slim, but we're more overweight than we've ever been. And there's no diet that even rises to the top. That should be really the biggest red flag with diets, is that we've had diets for 100 years and there's not one diet that's at the top of the heap. They're all equally ineffective. Isn't that crazy? That's a crazy thing to think about. And I every day ask for people to argue with me about how great a diet is. And every day I never get anyone saying anything, which is crazy to me. That's a shock. I will say that shocks me. It really does. I'm very surprised by that. Because if you're like, well, no, diets work. And you don't believe it enough to just say, like, you don't even have to, right? I mean, you just chat and something. Just like, no, keto works great. No one ever writes that. And so if you don't even have enough belief in your diet, whatever diet everyone's got kind of their favorite diet, right? Their one that they do. But if you don't even have enough belief in your diet to write in a chat window, no, Weight Watchers is really good. Like if you don't even have belief in that to do that, then what chance in hell do you have of that thing actually helping you lose weight and live at your goal weight? Like the fact that you won't say your diet works is proof that you don't believe in it. Starting my training in RTT therapy. RTT therapy, when I first saw that, it reminded me of RMT training, which I have. And that's Tony Robbins and Chloe Madonis, strategic coach, which is really great. RTT, Marissa Peer. Well, what do I want to say? I'm going to start by saying I'm here to be supportive. And I know you said, well, yeah, but you're always talking diets and shit talking them. Marissa Peer. Well, I do know Marissa Peer, and I do know I've worked with a number of people that have taken her training. And I don't know what I want to say about that, because I like her enough, and I think there's a time and a place for that training. So great job. You're going to learn about the mind. Let me put it this way, right? Let me say this, that training, any training you get, well, I don't say any trainings, there's obviously bad trainings that can mess you up, but I think most trainings, I follow the Jeet Kune Do philosophy. Bruce Lee, the actor, the martial arts actor, was actually a martial artist and a philosophy student, very deep thinker. And so he came up with Jeet Kune Do as the name of his martial art. And the basic idea is that he would study every martial art and fighting system. He would study Kung Fu, Taekwondo, fencing, boxing, anything. And he would take what worked, discard the rest in service of creating his own one-of-a-kind system for himself that worked for him. So I think if you go into the RTT training with that mindset, that this is just one more thing you're going to study amongst many things, then I think that's great. That's certainly how I approach everything. Now I'm an NLP person primarily, neurolinguistic programming. So I think that's kind of embedded in that idea as well. But I don't think RTT training by itself is going to make you a great therapist, but I do think that it's valuable information. If you keep studying and learning about this, you will figure out what works best for you. Yeah. As far as weight loss goes, I will tell you this I will say is that I've walked that path. I'm certified master hypnotist, certified NLP trainer, certified yoga instructor, certified strategic coach, certified Reiki practitioner. I've done a lot of certifications in their field. And me personally, I will say this, that a lot of times coaching's like this, hypnosis is like this. It's this idea that using hypnosis, you can fix anyone of anything. And that is one thing I will specifically say about that training is the idea that, oh, I know how to do, age regression therapy. So I can work with anything. I can work with any trauma, whatever happened. And I don't believe that. And I will tell you, at one point in my life, I started as a generalist hypnotist, and I can help anyone to some degree, I believe, but I can't help everyone with, like, weight, for example. I really had to specialize in weight. Like you can't just be a generalist in hypnosis and then, oh, now I'm working with this person with some deep-seated childhood trauma. I'm going to fix that. Oh, this person's got a weight issue. I'm just going to hypnotize them, fix that. And this person's a smoker. I'm going to hypnotize them, fix that. Like it ain't going to work that way. You're going to find you really need to specialize in something. Now, if that's your modality that you use to help them, great, but you're going to need a lot of information. Again, the main modality I'm using, the primary ones, are neurolinguistic programming and hypnosis. Yeah, and coaching, a lot of coaching philosophy. But then there's all my experience. I've done almost 6,000 private weight loss sessions. So I bring all that in here, and all that specialty is what makes me able to do this. So anyways, probably not the answer you're expecting, but that's what I would say. Good luck with the program. Enjoy it. And realize you'll be taking more after that as well if you want to become a really good therapist. Everyone has their favorite diet. Yes, everyone does have their favorite diet. And very rarely do they actually help you live at your goal weight. But anyways, all right, everyone, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much. Great comments and questions. Super appreciate them. Hopefully I was able to help you out a little bit. If you're not in my world, please click the link in my bio or go to programyourselfthin.com. Go get the free hypnosis session I give you. Watch the free training video I made for you. Read the emails I send you. All of these things are going to help you out. And they're all free. Okay, go check them out. And if you like this, I'm here every Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, right around that time, sometimes a little bit late. But I'm always here. And if you missed the live and you like listening to this, you can go to any podcast platform and search Program Yourself Thin. And you can listen to the podcast. And this is what we do every day. So, all right, everyone, have a super duper day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.